in either of the two sets between these two.
Wings are about to pop, and look at the amount of meter we actually have. Cuts the super, and look at the drain! It's unbelievable!
We had a fantastic major event called CEO, and I would claim it to be one of the big ones of NA tournament cycle. Looking at this one, we had stories happening, but I want to focus on the Dizzy that popped off Peluna, and she is a fantastic Dizzy main that brought her A game for a huge tourney with some of NA's best. Let's break down the path in a little bit, but I just want to say I'm feeling a wee bit ill right now, so if I don't sound my best, sorry. But if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like. Let's try to get over 100 likes. I'll post some turtle pictures. I'm trying to make that a tradition now. But let's get into it by talking about the pathing and how the bracket started. There are 4 sets to be played, and looking at winner's side, you had Cheryo versus Peluna, which is going to be a gold lose, and a Dizzy, the main focus of today's video. And then you had RedIamNot going up against More and Eno versus a top level gold lose. A lot of gold loses in this one. And down in loser side, you had Tashi versus Nitro, which was one hell of a set, might I add. It was such a fantastic set. Like, he was a demon on the Nagoriyuki and clutched out, taking the set 3-2. And then you had the other loser side set, being Umisho up against Keishu. Now, Umisho plays Leo right now, but the odd thing is that Keishu's been playing Johnny at tournaments, but here, opted for the Eno. To which Umisho took that one very confidently. It almost felt like Keishu didn't stand a chance with the Eno. The winner's side, RedIamNot, knocked out Tickle Me More on the Eno. Tickle Me More did some fantastic stuff on the Eno, though. I'll tell you that. There was some cool stuff, but Red knocking him down. And just like that, Red was waiting in winners finals for the highlight set to continue. Peluna versus Cheryo, to see if it's going to be a goalless mirror or the Dizzy of today's video. Peluna going into the Cheryo set had a couple of goals that she wanted to set up to actually make Dizzy work into it. Now, Dizzy historically does well into anybody that either has a stubby game plan or a slow movement speed. Goldlewis is one of these characters, so Peluna did have a bit of an advantage going into it. But the scary thing about Goldlewis is that he's used to these types of matchups, meaning one misplay could lead to an absolute turnabout, and that's what's scary about the matchup. But she wanted to look for poking opportunities to keep Cheryo at bay, and then turn those poking opportunities into a Wings of Light offensive structure where she'll delete your health off of one interaction. The poking game was certainly on her side, as she was able to take the first 2 games with ease. Not a whole lot of issues. Cheryo did do some nasty stuff in a couple of the rounds, but for the most part, she dominated. In the last game, she had some minor issues with the ice floor not working out, but again, it made it awkward for Goldlewis, and for the most part, it was good for Peluna. She took that first set very nicely with a clean 3-0 sweep, good to go to winners finals. And thus started the highlight set of that evening. RedIamNot versus Peluna. Why is this a huge deal? Well, for anyone that doesn't know, in terms of online and offline scene, these two fight quite often, either being in their locals or doing something during like TNS. These two fight a lot. The first game was a brutal back and forth with both of them taking a round in a very dominating manner, but it was kind of scary the way it was played out. It was a very brutal round. And the first game went to Peluna because she did some nasty spacing traps, making it quite difficult for Goldlewis to approach and poking away at the shins whenever she could. And the next game went to another back and forth in rounds, and we went down to another final round tie-up. And what was clever is the Ice Lord was doing a ton to keep Goldlewis at bay and make it awkward for him to approach as he slips on ice. He doesn't really approach quickly like some other characters, so it was a bit of a struggle to get in. However, after the awkward show, Red got one hell of a pressure sequence that went on for so long, causing the rest to build up to an insanely high degree, and then cashed out, dishing out a ton of damage, again destroying her in that game, tying us up 1-1. And this leads into one of Dizzy's problems. She's one of the worst defensive characters in the game. Her 5k doesn't come out her quick, 2k isn't anything disjointed or insane, 2ps are decent but don't go that far, and her 6p is not good. She does have a super, but it has a slow start up, meaning it can be OS with some nasty 5p meaty stuff. So you can see where she can struggle, as there's a ton of things that don't do well for her defense. Against someone like Goldlords, who's an offensive monster, it's a bit hard to keep him at bay. First game kicked in, and we're starting to see RedIamNot picking up on one of Peluna's habits, which is she's a big fan of using YRC on defense. It makes sense, when your other tools aren't that good, you gotta rely on the universal mechanics. But because of this, Red started making some clean guesses and started taking games very quickly, going up 2-0 in a matter of mere moment. However, Peluna made one hell of a comeback, managed to whip punish a ton of things on that 1 HP, did 1 HP to 90%, and oh my goodness, the BRC to the charge 5D pickup to beat that throw with was insane. It was such a high level execution of play. And into the final round for Peluna. If she lost this, she was out and gonna have to go down to loser's side. She made one bad read with 2H, and because of that, Red was able to abuse that and get in and start running the offense. In the final scenario, there was a bit of a turnaround, but again, it was 1 HP again. And unfortunately, she tried to keep going with her auto plus frames, and Red just made a very good guess with the 2P, mashing out and beating a lot of the offense could, but started and managed to get the win, giving Red an opportunity to take a tournament, as they'll be sitting in grand finals waiting for their opponent. Sadly, Peluna getting sent to losers at this point does suck, but on the positive, it's not that bad, because from here, Peluna can actually make a loser side comeback, as she'd only need to win one set, and then get faced with RedIamNot again, but it'd have to be a reset set. That's the scary thing. But right now she was waiting for her opponent from loser side, which was between Umisho and of course Cheryo. Looking at this set, I was thinking the entire time, I think Peluna would rather fight Umisho. Don't get me wrong, Peluna did dominate in that set against Cheryo 3-0. But at the end of the day, Dizzy does a better job zoning Leo Whitefang than she does Goldless. Goldless has that comeback factor, makes it a bit scary, where if one misplay happens, you're dead. Whereas with Leo, it's still a bit more interactions to happen. He's giga busted, don't get me wrong, but like that is something that can work out for Dizzy's favour. Umisho was able to take the set, and that led to our loser's final set, where it'd be Umisho versus Peluna. Gonna be a scary time for the Dizzy Queen. Taking a look at the chat, Peluna was the fan favourite for sure. Everybody was rooting for her for the most part. So yeah, the hero of tonight's bracket, I suppose. Like I said, Leo struggles against zoners and people want to keep him at base. So Peluna did have that slight advantage in neutral. Being able to hold down the screen space made it awkward for Umisho. Despite being strong though, it doesn't hold him back a ton, as Umisho, she was able to take the round start to a very good degree, allowing the offense to just tumble after that, just crumble away. The first game didn't really go into Peluna's favour. It was a pretty nasty game in general. Peluna tried to make some reads, didn't really work out, and Umisho just went on the offense and made it a hell of a time trying to defend. And that is one issue that Dizzy certainly has, and Umisho was abusing that. However, when we went to the second game, Peluna just absolutely turned about the first round, turning it about in a matter of mere moments. And just like that, she was in the dominating path. And what happened was quite shocking. She went to the second round and it looked like an absolute disaster of a round. It didn't look good for Peluna. It looked like she was going to get knocked out. But with one hell of a comeback again, it was tied 1-1. Peluna, my goodness, it's like she likes living on the edge. And genuinely, it came down to just reading Umisho's defense, making a lot of clean reads back to back, and then punishing the afterthought. The first round was a comeback for sure. Again, she likes this, but it was with a Wings of Light play, doing a ton of damage and leading to a final hit scenario. It was very good. It went down to the wire again, but one thing I really want to know is that Peluna's routing is really good. Like, she is really good at routing in a way where the combo would take ages to build up for the Wings of Light to pop off mid-combo or after the combo Oki. It's very strong the way she sets it up. Heading into the fourth game, Peluna only really needed one more, and she was using that Ice Floor to duck and dodge and absolutely avoid Umisho to get in for a lot of these punishes or to make stuff with and make it awkward for Umi. Again, the Ice Floor did so much in this round. And it was another Wings of Light pop, leading to an absolute kill again, leading into the set point this round would take it. It was going down to the wire, but that sword usage, the micro sword usage, started to shine even more as it continued, as with one clean hit, it led to a snowball. Peluna stuck in for this last round and she was sitting on 2 bars a meter. You know what that meant? The cash out for Wings of Light and the super was astronomical, man. Look at that cash out. She did so much in that round. And just like that, Umisho was knocked out and Peluna had her run back again. With grand finals coming up, you could sense there's a little bit of stress from Peluna's side. She did lose that last time they played. Remember, it was a 3-1 loss against RedIamNot, and these two have played a ton, so it isn't just you're fighting a Goldless, you're fighting a Goldless that knows you inside and out. And because it was a grand final set, it meant that she had to reset the bracket. And for anyone that doesn't know how double elimination works, when you get sent to loser side and you come back up to grand finals, you need to take 2 sets off your opponent, where your opponent only needs to take 1 set off you. Meaning at maximum, Peluna would have to win 6 games to win this tournament. And even though Dizzy does have the advantage in this matchup, again, Red is very good on defense with this character. They understand how to play goal list to a high degree, meaning one good mash out would lead to disaster. One big back throw would lead to an ending scenario for Peluna. So she had a lot to go up against. The first game felt like a repeat of the game that they had when they played in winner's side, with Red taking the first round and then Peluna taking the next, and it went down to a final round again. And it was down to the wire. Both their HP was insanely low, but Peluna made a fantastic read with PRC, using the Micro Sword, and then picking up, getting a lot of damage. It was nice. It was a really nice hit confirm. We got tied up again in the second match, and Peluna was able to dominate off of some nice plays. Frame trapping like hell and catching a lot of the mash out, she was able to go up 2-0, and just like that, it was one more game for the reset. We get another final round scenario, and it's not as if Peluna's dominating, it's a whole lot of back and forth, but with this final round, it was definitely tense as a reset was on the brink, and she did a nasty Wings of Light play. She zoned her way into a win, made some clean reads, and just like that, scrambled for the final hit, taking the reset in a matter of moments. It felt almost like seconds were flying, but in her head, I bet it was a year of tense and stressedness. That's the only way of putting it, is we had a reset on the table. With both players going back to 0-0 on the scoreboard, Peluna had to try and make something happen big in this first round, and she certainly did. Off of a clean whip punish 2H, she's able to dominate the round start from there. It went absolutely crazy on the damage. The Wings doing so much again. And it goes down to the wire again with Red taking a round, and it was very scary and tense. Players only needed one more hit, and yet again with a scramble she's able to do just that. Getting the JK for the dub. She goes up 1-0, taking a lead for the first time. The second game went by in seconds, literally. RedIamNot, they just got a fantastic round start and took it from there. Just went absolutely insane. And then the next round happened and it was the same thing. Absolute domination and display. And just like it was 1-1. Either man's game at this point. We head into the third game and we notice that Peluna's using a little bit less YRC as it was Red there last time. But I also noticed Red started using more of that burn it down. Managed to pull off twice in this round, getting the corner scenario twice. But again, Peluna defended well, was able to get out and do so much off of it. Tell you something though, it was scary when it started getting used. But Peluna punishing the 2D after the 2K just like that. She was on a roll. And just like that, we're up 2-1 and Peluna could do something insane, which is getting Dizzy to win a major. She had a very bad round start, however she was able to turn it about into a winning scenario. We get some structured offense. It was nasty for setting up Wings of Light, and just like with the pop, we have a game on our hands. Set point, tournament point after the reset. This next round would spell disaster for Red. Off of a clean Michael Sword pickup, it was the same scenario again, and you know what, I'll let the rest of the round play out for itself.
Once again, Peluna manages to escape the corner, finds the hit, and now is back on the offense.
Look at the tension here too. Red's back up against the wall, setting up the drone.
What can you do? Ooh. Wings activated, knockdown again, dance floor one more time. Things are looking dire.
5D, the burst has to come out, tries to bait it out, but Red doesn't bite. And there it is! All rise for Queen Dizzy!
Peluna did something special, not only being the first Dizzy to take a major of GuiltyGearStrive, but she was able to do it with some of NA's finest within that top 8. Sure, it didn't have Jack or Red Dill, but they still had the other top dogs of their region. Cheryo, RedIamNot, Keishu, Umisho. These are top level players that complete very often, and Peluna was able to prove her worth and stand next to them as a champion. Winning this was a huge deal as it makes her potentially a finalist for Arc World Tour, gaining 200 points on that score, meaning another victory at that tournament. She'd certainly get a placement within that finalist position. It was a hell of a run, and it actually felt like there was a player out here pushing what Dizzy could do to a point where we could see potentially the max potential. I'll tell you something, there weren't a lot of believers. Like, there was a ton of people being on Peluna's side, but when I was sitting in VCs, people were like, I want her to do it, but I don't see it happening. And here we are. Congrats to Peluna, and I wish nothing but the best for her. I hope she's able to do even more tournament runs from here on out and try to get the Arc World Tour. It'd be great to see such a different flavor of player within that finalist position. And that'll be it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to like, hype, and sub, and be sure to like y'all, because again, over 100 likes, I'll post some turtles, and tell me what you thought about Peluna's run. Was there something I missed out on, or was there something that happened in pools I would love to hear? And just like that, Panda's peacing out, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!